Alright, we should be good.
All right. Listen, how long you been run Portal 2?
About 3 years now. It's been starting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's no.
Alright. So, the first piece that I'm going to show off is bunny hopping. If you're familiar with most Source games, time can start about now, by the way. Hee hee.
Yep.
If you're familiar with most Source engine games, then you'll be familiar with bunny hopping. Yeah, actually, just most games in general nowadays. You'll be familiar with bunny hopping. Basically, while I wait for the map to load here, which is a custom B-Hop map that I made that is made to look like the Stanley Parable Adventure Line, if you've ever played Stanley Parable. Bunny Hop is basically a way to gain a ton of speed in air by using the strafe keys in air. So I'm using the A and D keys while I'm in air and not even touching W. Actually, hold on, I could probably do that. There you go. See, input display. You'll see that when I'm in air, I am just not holding down the forward key. Holding down W limits your speed to around 175. You'll see if I hold down W. Yeah, you just. So using the A and D keys in it, they can grant you up to pretty much unlimited speed, or well, whatever the engine is set to, which is 3,500 units per second. Yeah, so that's pretty much how bunny hopping works. You'll notice a few things in Portal 2 that is different compared to most Source games. Like, there are specific things in the air control, which I will show off in this map, Prototype. This is another map that I made. It's called Prototype. And you'll notice here, there's a lot of speed control. Basically, when you're in air, if you gain over 300 speed, which is fairly easy to do in 1 or 2 hops, you aren't really able to change direction. So you'll notice here that I am gaining a lot of frames. I'm sitting just on the ground for a little while to slow myself down. And those are basically like safety frames, just so that I don't completely lose my sense of direction. There's like a good like straight line level. You'll see here I have to keep my speed relatively low to make these tight corners. And the final level here is this this downhill. 51.7. That ain't bad. So that's how bunny hopping works. Up next, I just want to show off a little bit of tech. I'm going to be using bunny hopping throughout the run, but there's going to be some tech that you don't see too often. So if I go to this map, for example, I could show off a little bit of it while we wait for it to load.
Well,
there we go. We turn you off. This map that I just joined isn't a specific map, or it isn't that special. It's just a really nice map with a really big open area here. The most important piece of tech that I see involving portals is what's called a reportal. So basically, if you stand in 2 portals like this, just stand sort of in the middle and shoot one of the portals away. Oops, if I shoot away the other portal, you'll notice that I gain a little bit of speed. So what you could do with that, if you, I find it easier to do over here, you'll notice that is a very easy way to just start gaining speed, which is really, really nice. And you'll see a lot of this in the main run. So right there, I just gained pretty much 200 speed, just like that. Another fun thing that you can do with reportals is what's called a super reportal. There are a couple of these in the run as well, but basically with a quirk on just how portal collision works, if I make sure that both portals are on the ground there, if I look down at a specific angle, hold backwards, and shoot a portal, you'll notice that I am now stuck. I'm pressing my movement keys, nothing's happening. But if I shoot this portal away a little bit, you'll notice I'm still stuck in the ground for a little while. What you could do with this is that if I go in the other direction, if I shoot my portal away and just start shooting portals, you'll notice I start gaining a bunch of speed, which is an incredibly easy way to fling yourself. There are a bunch of these in the run. That's pretty much like the easiest setup for it. It is sort of orientation dependent, so you'll notice that it didn't work when I was looking this way, but it did this way. That's just like one of those weird little quirks. You know, I didn't have enough speed to make that gap. So I want to show off a trick using the Super Portal. It's called Lemon Skip, or Lemonade Skip. You might be familiar with it if you've seen it on YouTube. Basically, it's a way in the level with, obviously, the famous Cave Johnson Lemon Rant. It is a way to sort of skip that entire sequence. Actually, skip most of the level. So I'm going to, instead of going down here towards the pump station, which is where you would normally go doing a casual playthrough, I'm just going to pop right up to this top area, which doesn't look like much of use. There's this door here, but it's locked. But basically what I could do is set up a Super Portal here to fling up this way, bounce on these pipes, and then make it all the way up to that railing up there, which is pretty much the end of the level. So what I'm going to do, first just sort of give an overview of the trick. I am going to walk in and out of this portal. You'll notice that the blue portal up here on the top is pretty much at the bottom of the surface. When I walk through it, not like that. When I walk through it like this, it disables what's called, the game disables what's called scripted momentum. Basically, that means that if I have enough speed, like if you're flinging, for example, then the game will just set your speed to be the right number to get you over to there. Obviously, I don't want to go over there. I want to get up there. So I have to disable this, just to make sure that I'm able to get as much speed as I want. I'm going to line up my position with a certain number. That should do. And I'm going to set my portals up here in a couple ways. So this top portal, I'm going to make sure that these blue lines appear, which you can't just do just by throwing it in the corner. You have to have it at this certain spot. And then this orange portal I'm just going to put here. And then with a visual lineup, I could hold W, and now I'm stuck. I could shoot this orange portal away slightly, and then you'll notice that if I shoot a little bit closer, you'll notice that I just start gaining speed here. Once I get to about 2600 speed, I can hold down the D key, look down, shoot, and get all of the speed that I need to make it all the way up to this platform, which skips the Cave Johnson Lemon sequence as well as the little test chamber that's in this map. So now I can just shoot up here and do this elevator sequence as normal to finish off the map. That's sort of the coolest instance of a Super Portal that there is. Got a 250 there. My personal best is a 4828. I do want to show off one other trick, or at least a map in specifics that I think is a really, really cool map. It is this map here called Column Blocker. This map contains a trick that is used nowhere else in the run. It's called Jerry Skip, and it is a way to basically clip through the floor of these elevators. And you might think, oh, well, why, that sounds useful. That actually sounds really useful. You know, clipping down those elevators. Why is it only used once? And it's because when transitioning maps, the game doesn't check for player's position, it checks for the elevator position. So while you can do it in more maps, it's effectively kind of useless. Because, well, you would just be sitting down at the bottom of the elevator shaft waiting for the elevator to move anyway. So I'm just going to complete this chamber like normal here, since the chamber isn't really that fun. I'm going to crouch underneath these flags. These flags would normally end the level in challenge mode, but obviously I don't want to do that. I want to show off the trick. And I can't make or load saves, so let's just kind of hope I get this first try. So I'm going to do a specific lineup here. I'm going to line up my position right outside of where the elevators close. That looks good. I'm going to line up my crosshair just like that. I'm going to hold crouch, press S, hold crouch, tap S, and then hold D. Whoops. Messed that up here. Let's just load a pre-made save that I have. There we go. Now let me quickly get this set up again. Move to this specific spot, which is around 1459.6. Take my crosshair, have the right dot of my crosshair lined up with this line in the displays here. Let me save. Crouch, SD. And there it is. So the reason why this saves time in this map is because this one specific map, because there's a cutscene that happens right up there. For some reason, to transition the map, the game checks for your player position instead of the elevator position. It's only this map, so you notice that if I fall down the shaft, the map will end. Which is something that is only useful in this one map, but it saves a bunch of time. That is pretty much that is like the one really cool trick in the run. But there are a couple like little extra things that you'll see me do a lot here. So I want to run through another B-Hop map here, one that's specifically in the game. So let's do turret sabotage here, because there is a trick that you'll see happen a couple times that I do want to show off. It's at the latter half of this map, so we are going to have to do a little bit of bunny hopping. There isn't really much to say here apart from this is what movement looks like. This is kind of what movement looks like. So in this room, normally what you would have to do in the solution, spoiler warning, is grab one of the defective turrets from that flies into like this incinerator area. You could grab it. You could grab the defective turrets if you stand in there. And normally you would have to place the defective turret inside of this little chamber. But there's something that you could do to skip that, which is to shoot through this door. Believe it or not, that's a real thing you could do, because Valve is a really good development team, and they accidentally left a gap in the model, just up there. It's not a visual gap, the model is like visually solid, but portals can travel through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my crosshair right there. I need to line this up so that I'm standing at the right height here. I'm going to walk through, get stuck on this monitor. Take a look at the door, line my crosshair up to about 0.02. And we're just simply going to shoot. There we go. I had to move up a little bit. But there it is, yeah. So my portal just went right through the door, and I could skip the entire turret sequence just like that. This trick is used one other time in the run in this map called Secret Panel. And I'm going to show that off quickly, and then I'll end this little showcase here. So basically, there's an industrial door right over there. You can see it. And once again, we can shoot through it. So I'm going to stand up and line up on this block here. Let's go to about minus 505 on my position. And I'm going to use my angles on screen to line up at specifically, minus 169.22 on that one. And minus 0.00 there. Whoops. I want positive 0.00. So now, if I get lucky, whoops. Come on. Right, let me try not to move my mouse here while I get back on this platform. There we go. Have I lost touch? Why is it not working? Come on. Alright. Here, let's pretend. Let's. Whoops. Do not look at what I'm typing in console. Do not look at do not look at what I'm typing into console here. Let's pretend that I hit it. So you'll notice why we have to shoot so precise is that the gap is literally the very, very top of this wall here. And this is where the portal would land if I hit it. So you would just walk through here, and then you would go and bunny hop till the end of the map. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show, at least for right now. Showed off a little bit of movement, showed off reportals, and showed off this shot, these really thin shots, which are called pancake shots. I don't think I ever actually mentioned that. They're called pancake shots because the shot is as thin as a pancake to hit. You'll notice that like a lot of tricks in this game are named after food. You'll hear about more of them when I do the run on Sunday. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to show off for now.
Thank you very much, Jaio. Do appreciate it. Thanks for coming in, showing us some tech, and we will see you on Sunday. And now we have Funniest Bunarina coming in with our last 2 runs of the night, and then have a lovely evening, and then we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. So we'll be right back with those.